We have something. We know you just got married on April 7th.
Oh, boy.
But given that we've been talking about weddings and finances for 2 days in a row now, Lauren, we actually have some financial vows we've written for the two of you that we'd like you to exchange.
Everyone
with
sit
each
back
other.
down.
Yeah, everyone sit back down.
We think this is the real wedding, to be honest.
Okay.
Wild Til 9.
You ready?
Yep, let's go home. Good.
I can't control this.
We're talking about the
Yeah.
slip and fall, right?
And with that,
Oh.
welcome back to Wild Til 9.
Joining us today is the dynamic duo Nick and Jack from the hit pop-biz news podcast, the best one yet, TBOY. Do we want to identify our T-boys we've got?
This is Nick.
This is Jack.
Oh, that was so crazy! It sounded exactly like.
It's like we've done it 1,500 times.
No kidding.
Wait, probably more.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
So I have more hype
Go
up.
ahead,
I
go
have
ahead,
more
go
hype. Previously the host of the iconic Snacks Daily podcast, acquired by Robinhood, they've spread their wings and left the nest and are bringing you 3 daily news stories that will leave you a little more in the know every single weekday. We've secured our own in-house finance bros for the episode. Not sure about the trust funds. I think one's got blue eyes.
Yeah.
One's got blue eyes. Not quite 6'5".
Combined,
And
together.
regardless, clearing 6'5" together for sure. And we are big fans nonetheless.
Thank you so much, guys.
That's
That
good.
was the
Cute.
best intro yet.
We're both 5'10".
No
And
way.
Our college coach has listed us at
6 foot.
5'11".
Wait, they lied to 5'11"?
No, I think it was like this, Jack. We're actually 5'10". We tell people 5'11". The college coaches heard 6 foot and then they wrote 6'1" on the
I
roster.
actually showed up to, I walked on. I told you.
Well, you told everybody. But yeah,
Well, I went to my college recruiting trip, which I invited myself to be honest.
and
Yeah.
this is D3.
D3.
Got it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was known as D3 Bo back then.
By the way, the best D. The best D.
Best. So I actually put playing cards in both of my shoes to increase my height.
Wow.
Dad,
Come
you,
on,
like, run
Jack
First time sharing it on the
DIY.
pod.
But you had to run in those
No, I
too?
didn't have to run. It was just wintertime. I was visiting. I was checking out the campus.
Yeah.
And trying
It
to be
was more
tall.
of a personality.
Like old school lifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had old school lips.
Like before Amazon, you just order things.
Yeah, because quarterbacks are supposed to not be 5'10".
How tall are they supposed to be?
Brady's 6'4".
Okay.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He doesn't give off 6'4" energy. He gives off 5'10" energy.
Okay, guys, we're starting way too broy to have a 98% female
Sorry.
audience. Okay, so let's reel it
Run it back,
in,
run it back.
bros.
Sorry.
My God, today is just like the day of husbands. I would love to hear from both of you a little bit about how you got to start to share with our audience who you guys are and what you guys do.
Well, Jack and I met because we had the same set of Seinfeld DVDs when we walked into the same dorm room together and found out we were going to be roommates. Jack had season 2, I had season 3. Overlapped. We knew we had a connection.
Besties.
We were freshman year college roommates.
Yeah, we really were.
And the DVD thing will give
Wow.
everyone an indication as to what year it was.
Which is like
Could
also...
have been VHS, okay? It could have been VHS. All right.
Jack and I, when we were flying into LA, we were like, wait a second, think about this. We've known each other for almost 20 years now. And it all started in a college dorm room and how we are running our own podcast business news company together. It's amazing to think about that. It's really satisfying.
We put the DVDs into our PlayStation 1s.
Yes,
Right.
we did.
Which we played on a gigantic television that was 200 pounds probably.
Right,
As
and
one
the
does.
thick back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we bonded in college and we actually became roommates again after college. We both worked in finance, but we actually didn't love our finance careers.
Yeah, we knew it wasn't for us.
a
So-
finance bro that doesn't like finance.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And we knew it from the start. So 6 months after graduating from college, we started something on the side. We actually met together at a bar and we said we seek a creative outlet. We're not totally satisfied by these stuffy finance jobs. So we said, let's do something.
We don't want to
And
be doing spreadsheets. We want to dance,
the
basically.
very next day, we published a daily newsletter.
The next day.
The next day.
Yeah, we did.
It was November of 2011.
How do we take all this business news that's out there and make it the business news you actually need to know on the companies you want to know in a voice that you actually want to hear? It sounds like you're hanging out with your friends.
This is back when if you wanted to understand how the economy and finance was working, you needed to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, physical newspaper.
Yep.
Which would, before you know it, jam your mailbox so that you don't want to take out a single one because there's 7 in there and you feel guilty that you haven't read a single page.
And honestly, this is my favorite part. That was over 10 years ago. Jack and I now have a podcast, video show, and we basically do the exact same thing as we did then. Like today, right before this, we were recording our podcast in Los Angeles, and we were doing a story on Lululemon and how Lululemon stock's dropping, but we have a solution to save Lulu.
Okay, hang on. Is this about the forever chemicals? Because our other friend, Dr. Mike, made a comment about forever chemicals. He was like, if you wear Lulu, which I do.
Yeah.
Wait, I
What
only
do I-
wear Lulu.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're done for. You're dripping in forever chemicals, I think.
PFAS.
What's the tea?
Okay, so no drama on it, but just that Lululemon stock is down 40% this year. Lulu's been struggling, right, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, they're in competition against Aloe Yoga, against Sweaty Betty.
We call it the alt
Against
leisures.
Fiore.
The alt
Fiore.
leisures.
They
Yeah.
created the athleisure category.
Yeah.
Now there's tons.
Alt leisures, alternative athleisures.
Possible
So-
hot take, it's because they're not innovating.
Ooh.
That's exactly what we argued,
I
actually.
wear exclusively athleisure. Like I don't wear. Which one of you doesn't like jeans? One of you doesn't like jeans.
I don't wear jeans. They give me chills.
Yes, Sam, I don't do jeans.
you.
I just don't do jeans.
Feeling
I have-
seen, feeling heard.
Yeah. Like jeans, the moment I walk in the door, they're off. Like
Yeah.
there's no world where jeans is
You
my
get
first
that
choice.
tingly feeling going down your spine when you feel a pair of jeans?
Nick, I think that we may have another something to diagnose here.
Bring back jeggings is all I want to say.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I'm quite on board with you there.
Okay,
But anyway, I do agree. I think that they're not innovating because
Yeah.
like places like Aloe, everything is so trendy and cool. And
Yeah.
like, yes, it's expensive, but I'm aligned.
So in tomorrow's show, you'll hear that Lululemon conquered the morning
Yes.
because they created
Okay.
pants that you can wear to yoga and then go straight to brunch without having to stop home
Yes.
and look good in both
Yeah.
scenarios.
What Lulu really did was they didn't have a style. They saved you time because you didn't have to change. That was the real value of Lululemon.
But now the competition has cut up years ago, quite frankly. So they've run out of growth. They just only grew 10% in the last quarter compared to much higher in previous years.
Right.
So what we suggest that they do is switch from a morning only company to an evening company.
yeah.
Meaning
Meaning create workwear that you can wear to the office in like this post-pandemic,
They
more casual world.
do.
But then also look really good at the bar and for like your nightlife that you move on to.
Oh.
So similarly, like morning, you're going from yoga to brunch. Evening, you're going from work to dinner. To the
Lean
club.
into fashion in a way that Supreme has so that you can go to the office and look good, but then go out to dinner and feel comfortable too.
I mean, in the post-pandemic world, Brooks Brothers is bankrupt.
Dead.
done.
Dead.
So there
Over.
is a big void that could be filled. Lululemon needs to do something.
Lauren,
That's the
I have
void they
never
should
been
fill.
more interested in a subject matter on our podcast.
Okay, I think that Jeremy single-handedly increased the sales of whatever the Lulu pants that you were wearing in our proposal photos because Jeremy's ass was
fantastic.
fat.
amazing.
It looked
wonderful.
fantastic.
We're just talking about facts here. We're not talking about anybody's
Yeah.
opinion.
just
not
facts.
subjective.
Also
Is this a
with
commission
PH.
slim pant?
I will
Or-
say I should have put up speaking of commission, like a link that would have
Yeah.
like actually earned me something.
Totally. No, but they're nailing it for
Wait, but speaking of-
menswear.
I wore Lululemon pants to get engaged.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. No, but I feel like they're doing it well for the men's office
But
attire.
for women, they have it innovative.
But
We're
yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
we're just throwing this out there. But we think what could save Lululemon is in 3 years from now, we're all sitting here again and we're like, wait a second. Lauren, didn't you just go out to a cocktail party wearing Lululemon cocktail dresses?
Because it'd be comfy.
That
and
was
this is
also
the best part.
work appropriate.
Jack, and this is also applicable to these two right now. Where did we get the inspiration for this idea to save Lululemon?
Abercrombie & Fitch,
Yes.
who we covered last week, who is crushing it because
Yeah.
they're the
Her favorite.
go-to wedding company
I
at
know.
this point.
I listened to this episode.
Hold on.
Whether
stop,
it's a
stop.
dress for a bachelorette
Yeah,
party,
Abercrombie.
they actually have a wedding store that they launched online. And it's not just for wedding dresses. In fact, it's more for bridesmaids dresses, bachelorette dresses,
Genius.
The brunch.
the romper
the
for
brunch.
the morning after brunch.
What's the best performing product at Abercrombie? It's like a $100 wedding rehearsal
Yeah.
dinner dress.
I totally agree. But also, I think that because our generation grew up loving Abercrombie and Fitch, like we took some space, you know, and
Yeah.
then once they dropped the little moose logo and it didn't have to be like double pop
Yeah.
collar, we're
Yeah.
like, oh wait, I'm back. I used to love this brand and now I'm back.
So this is what we do on our show. It's a new category we created called pop-biz. It's the intersection of business and pop culture. Every single story you'll find on our show, it is both a business news story that is highly influenced by pop culture forces.
Right. I mean, I
Where,
love that.
where do you guys get the stories? Because like everything is, and how do you fact check?
Yeah. That's
Wow.
the second part.
We fact check each other. So
Yes, we
Nick
do.
is the primary author of the Lululemon story, which he wrote this morning and we just recorded and is publishing tomorrow. I edited his Lululemon story and fact check every single detail.
And so is that always the relationship? One writes, one edits?
Correct. So at the same time that Nick was writing Lululemon, I was writing about the Paris Olympics.
And did that get cut?
No.
Okay.
We
That's
have three
coming up.
stories every
Did
day.
you talk about the no sex beds
Tell me more.
Oh, we gotta update our pod.
Yeah.
In the Olympic
Wait,
Village.
so
In the
you-
Olympic
So
Village.
the story's
Four
done
on the
and you
floor?
missed this?
Our story was about the Seine River. which is going to be, which is literally poopy right now.
Yes, they're spending $1.5 billion to de-poop the river.
But
As they
the
should.
marathon swimming competition and the triathlon competition
Oh,
are
wait,
happening in the river.
In the poopy river.
Marathon swimming? What do you mean?
It's a really long swim. I don't know the length, but it's not in a pool.
So it's
You're
not
gonna be
26
schwitzing.
miles.
It's usually done in an ocean, a lake, or a river.
Right. And they're in the poopy river right now.
Yeah, poopy
That's,
river.
that's the plan.
You
Since
gotta de-poop the river.
1923, the city of Paris has forbidden Parisians from swimming in this river. It's that unsanitary.
This
Right.
is filled with poop.
And yet they announced that they're
The
going to
Olymp-
have
that all the
Olympic
top
competitions
athletes
in the
of
river.
the world. Wait, so you Google the no sex beds in the Paris Olympic Village?
What do these look like?
Because they're 04,
It looks
right?
like they
Or
put
24?
together like
24. This
24.
Yeah.
Oh, is this summer?
50 days.
50 days.
Wait, hold on. I saw a video of the river not that long ago.
Yeah.
Shit.
Looking poopy.
Not blue.
Looking
No.
And so
poopy.
here's the best part. The mayor of Paris pledged that prior to the opening ceremonies, she would swim in the river.
I saw
as a
that.
public demonstration of its cleanliness.
Fantastic.
To be like,
I
I'm not
know.
going to grow another limb if I'm in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
that's so
Marco.
wild.
Where's Polo?
Wait, isn't that like Elon saying he wanted to go like over to like some like nuclear site and like have a sandwich or something? He goes, it's not even that dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's-
and
oh my God.
And we're like,
and the
no,
Brooklyn
no one's
Bridge.
asking you to do that. He's like, I'm gonna go right now. Like, no one's asking you to do that.
The Brooklyn Bridge example?
Well, it's a great public demonstration. So
What's
when
that?
they built the Brooklyn Bridge in 1870,
Okay,
Wow.
it was a long river and a way far the biggest bridge that had ever been built.
sure.
Still, New Yorkers were like, "What is this thing? Does this thing work? Is this going to hold our weight?"
Right.
No
People
one
didn't
believed
trust
it.
the original suspension bridges.
So, as a public demonstration, they called up Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, and they got 20 elephants in the middle of the day to cross the bridge as a public spectacle, like this mayor of Paris swimming in the river.
That's genius.
Yeah.
That's genius.
And that's one good because unlike just swimming in the river, that's like, you know what? They should bring elephants to the river and she should ride an elephant in the Paris
in
River.
the Paris River.
In the Seine.
Yeah, here we go. Oh my God. So it literally looks like there's cinder blocks, but they look like they're kind of made out of styrofoam. So
They're made
it's
out of cardboard.
Wait, what,
yes,
what are we looking
cardboard.
at here?
The no sex Olympic
Okay,
Village
so,
beds.
so for audio folks, we're looking at a picture of what appears to be.
One is a single bed.
It is a
college-
single bed.
A low-end college dorm room.
It's not a Casper mattress.
This looks
Not
like
a
the dorm
Casper, it's
rooms
not a
that we
purple.
looked at when we were kids. Like this is pretty. Have you seen dorms lately?
Prison-y?
No, they look like beautiful, like Restoration Hardware light.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Pepperdine.
which dorms
Pepperdine
are
has
you
4
living
poster beds.
I gotta be honest, that's a bit above my pay grade on Pepperdine, but like a university
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the South, I'm like, this is really quite nice. Like
Yeah.
when I was there, the next semester, they were like, too much asbestos, we got to take it down. And that was the semester after I was there. Yeah. So what's the point of that?
I don't know.
I think it was
They
just
brought
a-
up the Paris thing, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"What's the story about the no,
No,
sex
the
beds?"
2006 Olympics in Italy, it was just a sex show.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
The Olympic Village was just, there was sex everywhere.
I think there's always a lot of sex.
but also
And-
top athletes with
everyone's in the best shape
adrenaline.
of their life. Showing
Yeah.
up like late to their competitions.
Right.
Which is a shame because they've been training their whole lives.
Yeah,
for this.
and then they'd be wearing some other country's clothes accidentally. That was the worst part. They start doing like the Dutch anthem, and you got
You're like-
South Africa's
But also,
robe on.
it just goes to show that no matter how successful, how amazing, how wonderful you are at anything, you're all just humans.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
truly.
it's nice to see that.
It's nice to see that even the best of us.
And that's what the Olympics is all about.
yeah. It's about knowing that they're going to have mediocre sex on a crappy mattress this summer.
that are on literal cinder blocks.
Yeah.
I saw someone make a TikTok about how they wish that in the Olympics they also had someone who was totally normal and average competing, so that you really get the
Control group.
the control group exactly of like how good these athletes are.
I would argue that someone who walked onto their college football team years ago, of course, but is still in decent shape would be
Jack,
a perfect
you're
candidate
in.
for that.
Poopy River. In
I
you
could
go.
be average, dude.
If you had, if you average guy Jack, if you had to pick one sport to compete in at the Olympics as the control group,
No, outside of football.
well, they don't have football, but
Totally knew that.
Are you asking me what I would best compete
but they
at?
have football. It's just
Yeah.
soccer.
Or what
but
would
yes.
be most fun?
No. What would you compete in if you had the choice?
If I wanted to perform, I would probably compete.
I wouldn't call it performing.
We're talking about the cinder block beds.
Just
right?
literally, all you need to do is show up and not die.
Participation.
And your wife is like, okay, okay.
I would perform in baseball, which is an Olympic sport.
It is. It
I was
is.
a pitcher.
You were pitching.
I throw things.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see that for you.
I throw.
Okay.
I played catch with my 3 brothers my entire childhood.
Okay.
In fact, the reason I chose the college I went to is not because I knew I was going to be Nick's roommate. It's because there were all these quads for playing catch.
Really?
I'm from Vermont.
It's like a Labrador.
Yeah. I'm like a Labrador.
But like for a lot of women that listen to the podcast, what's going through men's minds? Like, why do they make the decisions?
And
it's
that's a perfect example.
I want
Can
them to know
throw a
it's
ball here?
not
Can I
that
throw
deep.
a ball here?
Can I?
Shallow.
But wait, can
Yeah.
I catch a ball? Yeah. Okay, I can throw a ball here and catch a ball here. I can live here.
I can live here.
Yeah,
4
we're all
years.
just like scratching our heads and armpits.
Mom, did you send my application?
It's the place with the throwing and the catching.
What sport for you guys? What would you do?
I was a lacrosse player in college, and that's just not an Olympic thing.
No.
No,
In
it
fact,
wasn't.
it's barely even.
I think I'd be in that poopy river.
it's very
Okay.
like an East Coast bro thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually for the Olympics of lacrosse, you have like the Upper East Side of Manhattan versus Long Island versus Maryland. That's pretty much it.
Wow. Those are all.
And the Iroquois Nation.
Yeah, that actually is a really cool part.
They-
And
they
that
have a
will
team,
be
right?
What did you
Wait,
say?
really?
What-
Iroquois.
when I was growing up and we would go to upstate New York, we actually played a game against a bunch of Native
Americans
American
invented
players.
lacrosse.
Yeah. It is the
What?
national sport,
Yeah.
in fact,
Yes.
of Canada.
Yes. Huh?
I'm sorry. What the fuck?
And
Huh?
it is
Wait,
not.
Can we get a fact
it's
check?
got to be hockey.
We'll do
Yeah.
let's do a live fact check. By the good grace of Wayne Gretzky, and I swear on the soul of Joe Sakic that the official sport of Canada is
Canada?
actually lacrosse, and it's because it's a Native American sport. It's a wonderful story, actually.
This has to be real, right?
Yeah,
This
I
is-
mean, so
I built it
This
up
is
so
too
much now. I
obscure.
hope it's
I
real.
had so many lacrosse friends, and I actually kind of know how to play lacrosse. Just kind of the fact that I can catch a lacrosse ball is probably something so incredibly random.
I think you can tell the affluency or lack thereof of a city by the amount of lacrosse teams
The concentration.
I agree with that.
between the ages of like
So-
12 and 24.
in Canada, though, I would say that hockey would be considered a higher class sport than lacrosse.
Yeah, so not everything's the same in America and Canada. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because there were so many indigenous people in our area, lacrosse was so incredibly popular.
I've never made this correlation before.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So we'd play against teams, and these were in the United States Native American
Pretty good.
teams. They were really good. In fact, the Native American players had a different skill set because they didn't grow up with the same types of
Oh.
coaches. Way more intense skills with the sticks. It was
Yeah.
they're really, really.
And you actually
great
got to
group.
play them?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
It is Canada's official summer national sport.
Wait, they divided into seasons?
Okay. All right. I think we need to blame Justin Trudeau on that one.
yeah.
I don't know if I can take the blame on that.
She goes, yeah.
and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we fact check right there.
Especially because Canada doesn't have a summer.
I guess we're all right.
Right. So, like, is there a winter, spring, fall, or just?
So just the winter, and that is ice hockey.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. Okay.
50-50. And just like being 5'10", we'll round up.
It just restored balance to the force.
That
Yeah,
feels
that-
good.
that feels right. That feels
honestly,
right,
That
yeah.
actually feels right
It
now.
also feels very Canadian. It was kind of a fair decision. We'll have two sports.
We'll have two sports. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that. I love that for us.
Something for everybody.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Okay, so we, I feel like we can't not talk about the viral TikTok finance bro anthem that's been going around.
Yeah.
And you'd heard this before, I assume, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of
6'5".
course. Yeah.
Trust fund.
Trust fund.
Blue eyes.
Nailed it.
You
Nailed
guys
it.
are just finishing sentences.
Do you guys still identify as finance bros? Kind of.
Nick?
Do not identify as finance bros.
No, I would say certainly not. Actually.
We retired.
Yeah. X.
We
You
say
know what?
reformed fuckboy for Jeremy.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. We don't. We haven't in 10 years. We haven't in 10 years. But sure. For sure.
No, but that is a really interesting question because I actually think that's something people assume when you're a guy and you work in finance that
Yeah.
you're a finance bro. You love spreadsheets, you love hanging out with other bros, and you love just grabbing beer.
And
I think,
vests.
frankly, Jack and I always felt different in finance and like, frankly, felt like an outlier, even if you look like a classic, typical, stereotypical
And you
finance
do.
guy.
And you do.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
the
no,
hair
if
didn't
you-
always
If
look
you
like
read
this.
these books by their covers, we're finance bros.
Well, but what Jack and I
Right.
had was really creative interests that couldn't be satisfied in finance, like writing and the arts and being creative.
humor
in
and
it.
awareness.
And humor that you can't do in a
and a
finance
realization
room.
that like making profits is not the only thing in the world.
What? But
Yeah.
did you major in finance in college?
Economics. We went to
Economics.
liberal arts school.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
I didn't.
History. Sorry.
History and frankly took a lot of creative courses in college, like creative writing and
Hang on,
acting.
this is mind blowing. Hang on. Wait, hang on. Back up. Economics and not money?
No,
Well, economics is pretty money.
No. Money.
Economics and history.
History.
yeah. And Jack and I and Jack took a lot of courses outside of economics too.
Wow.
And frankly,
I actually double majored. I
Yeah.
had German and economics.
Ah, Vader. Father.
Vader.
Got it.
Yeah.
Star Wars references.
There we go.
Got it.
There we go.
So what were you going to do with that German major, by the way?
Well, I ended up working at a German investment bank
Great
in New
answer.
York City.
Great answer.
Wow, you actually applied literally both of your majors.
I did, believe it or not.
That
and
is-
I actually had some great clients. So Nick and I side hustled our newsletter for 5 years
Wow.
before we turned it into our full hustle.
And you guys were secretive about it in the beginning,
yeah,
right?
we were anonymous. 'Cause
Yeah.
financial institutions have compliance departments.
Right.
Yeah.
And they do not like you saying that you're doing anything except working for the company.
Barely like that.
To maximize the
I mean,
profits.
just to set the scene here, Jack and I would finish a day of working at an investment bank, and then we would get on the subway and text each other, all right, what stories are we covering today? Lululemon's earnings?
Wait, after
We got a
work?
cool angle.
Afterward.
You work
And I
all
still-
day and then go right?
Sometimes we would even send emails to each other from our company emails, but we would turn the text white because we thought that would hide
Genius.
it.
Genius. Not, but genius.
And literally, we would like do this and then we would write a newsletter every day on the subway coming home and get this out. And
Was
we
it
also-
FOIA? Is that the agency that like goes in like
FINRA.
FINRA, yeah. That goes in like that like looks through it like all the emails.
Yeah, they're
Oh
like,
my God.
wait,
Control F
Yeah,
doesn't
they're like,
work if
hang
the
on.
font
why
is
is this
white.
dude sending all these blank
These
emails
blank
to his
emails.
buddy?
I tried the exact same thing with turnitin.com. Doesn't work.
So when Nick left finally, they had a stack of papers this big. He had a meeting with HR. That
Yeah,
was like
I'm on
tossed
my
into his
last
calendar.
weeks.
They said, Nick, what is Market Snacks?
And that was our startup secretly.
Yeah.
But anyway, it all worked out. We didn't get in trouble. We grew the audience anonymously. There was no name attached to the Market Snacks newsletter. But of course, we told everyone to sign up and like pushed that hardcore.
So like
guerrilla
people
marketing.
around you knew, right?
Yeah, people around, close friends
Close
at our
friends.
work.
Yeah.
knew. Yeah.
Yeah, they
But
knew
our
we were-
boss didn't until an advertiser said, hey, can we be your first advertiser?
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, oh my God, we're going to make money off this
Yeah,
thing.
we
So
realized
that's when we came clean with our bosses and filed it as an outside business activity.
Oh, so you actually officially went through the
We
channels.
went through the official channels after about a
Eventually.
year.
Well,
And
you both had a Series 7, right?
yeah.
And you can lose that if you
Okay,
don't.
for everyone
F you-
else, what's a Series
Sorry.
7?
Why-
A
don't
Series
ask
7
fucking me. Ask
What?
them.
A Series 7 is a license that is required to basically work in the finance industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And, you know, it's not like the bar for becoming a lawyer, but you can get kicked out
Right.
of the finance industry
Okay.
if you do unethical things or if you're caught engaged in fraud or stuff like that. So we determined that what we were doing was not
Fraud.
in conflict at all. Yeah, it wasn't fraud.
We determined that we were not.
Our compliance department approved it.
Really?
Jack and I also just had this deep belief early on that we still believe today that everything around us is actually related to business and we just don't even realize it.
Sure.
Like we just had a whole conversation about Jeremy's passion for khakis from Abercrombie. Everything we kind of said about that is reflected in Abercrombie's earnings report that
Yes.
just came out and affected the stock. And so Jack and I have always felt these are stories that need to be told and how fun it is to tell these stories.
But they need to be told by somebody
Yes,
who
I was about to say.
understands what it takes to pass the Series 7
Yeah.
and doesn't want to use it.
That was us. Believe it or not, that was us.
But otherwise, it's just the perspective is so. The importance of the technical information outweighs entertainment, and like I'm ADHD as hell. Like if something's not like actually engaging, I'm out. Even if it's on, it's just filler.
I think on the opposite side of that too, like I'm not ADHD, like I'm locked in when I'm listening to a podcast. But if something is going to be like too wordy or feel like a little too educational and it's leaning on that side versus like entertaining, like I'm also out because I'm here for a good time.
It's
I'm
gotta
not-
be edutainment.
It's gotta be edutainment. And so I feel like the way that you guys have packaged it and made it digestible for someone like me who doesn't have any business background.
you
It's
got-
just
you
been-
sneak it in there. You hide it.
We do sneak
Yeah.
it in there. Yeah.
and then you throw an amazing theme song on
Oh
it
my
jingle,
God.
the
two times
jingle.
in a row.
So the first time we ever encountered Jeremy and Lauren was on Instagram when
Yeah.
they posted their dog Moose and the two of them dancing to the theme song
Yeah,
of our
yeah,
yeah.
podcast.
It's so
A great
good.
video.
And the new theme song, the T-Boy Pod theme song, is
Fantastic.
inspired by Prince of Bel-Air, right?
Yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, Prince
Really?
of Bel-Air, yeah.
It
Cool.
tells the story of Nick and me meeting 16 years ago. And
A great rap duo down in Texas called Black Alack wrote the song.
They
I was
kinda
going to
told
ask
our
you, yeah,
story.
how
Yeah.
you found them.
yeah, let's can we play it?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you gonna copyright us?
You're good. You're good.
Yeah,
You're
right.
good.
Actually, good question.
So I want to chat a bit about something that I think that we all struggle with at times, comparing ourselves to others. It is something that I definitely have so much experience with. Social media can make it so easy to look at someone else's highlight reel and think, oh my God, they have their life so together. But let's be honest, what we see on Instagram is just a small snippet of reality. We might find ourselves wishing our lives looked like someone else's, but that's a fast track to feeling unhappy, and comparison is the thief of joy.
That's where therapy can be a game changer. It's not about focusing on what others have, but about discovering what you truly want for yourself. Therapy helps you redirect your energy and thoughts towards your own goals and dreams. And that's why we're excited to talk about our sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. To get started, just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Therapy has been such a useful tool always for helping pull me out of a rut. Sometimes it becomes way too easy to look at other people and think that I'm just not doing enough or as much as them. Therapy has really helped me realize that focusing on others only stunts my own growth. I don't know where I would be truly without therapy. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try.
Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/WT9 today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/WT9.
15 years before this song, two boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick,
That's it. I don't even think I gotta practice.
50%, that's a fat tip. TBOY City on your list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show. Start the show.
I love it.
So good.
The video's cute too. I've never seen the video.
video's
I
fun.
only listen.
Yeah.
Such a bop.
Yeah, and it's like we did a live show in New York the other day, and we played that, and people were like dancing in their seats. And
Isn't
then
that kind of crazy? Like to hear her like know the words to a
Yeah,
song.
that's
When I tell you, I also don't know the words to anything. Like I
that
like
was
don't
amazing.
have that little. I don't
Thank you
have
so
that
much,
thing.
Lauren.
But also,
thank you.
I think that's why there's an unreasonable amount of finance podcasts out in the world with like two guys talking to each other who think that they know what they're talking about. You guys just found a way to like actually package it and have good information, but like without the package, nobody cares.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, I love that you listen every day. Thank you so much for listening every day. Most of our audience listens every day.
Yeah.
We've done 1,500 episodes of this show.
Wow.
And we actually don't have the word finance in the title or description
yeah.
of our
Yeah.
podcast.
That's
even
cool.
though that's the
because
subject.
that would be misleading.
Yep.
If you're looking for a finance podcast, we might not be the one for you.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
We are for people who are interested in finance, economics, and business, but don't want a podcast that is just that.
Right.
Instead,
If I saw the tag finance, I wouldn't even.
Yeah.
I'd glaze over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see our
Glazed.
logo, it looks like a fashion logo almost. And
Yeah.
it's not about, and just the idea of a show being called The Best One Yet, like the reason why Jack and I said that and why the title of our whole product, of our whole podcast is The Best One Yet is when we started podcasting, Jack and I would say like, hey, that episode we just did, that was like the best one we've done. And then we just kind of kept saying it on the show. And then our audience embraced it and was like, hey, I just had like the best smoothie yet. I just had the best outfit yet.
Yeah.
And we realized this was like a mindset people were
A
living.
life-
we
Style.
emailed
Yes.
each other in white text that it was the best one yet.
This
It
is
was
the
a
best
T-bone.
one yet.
Again, the decisions that go into these things, not all that deep.
No, so we actually did go deep after we left Robinhood, after working there for 3 years. So we sold the company to Robinhood in 2018. 3 years later,
We spun it out.
we spun out the podcast and became independent again. But we had months of legal back and forth.
Yeah. Totally.
We had time to prepare. So we did a brand strategy activity where we asked ourselves, what is the show? And it is not a finance show. And we came up with the term pop-biz, which we're dedicated to. We'd actually been doing for years.
Pop culture
We just hadn't
business.
articulated it. The intersection of business and pop culture. And we came up with a mission, which is to make people's day feel brighter. And brighter is
Yeah.
the perfect word because it's both becoming smarter, because Nick and I pour all of the best insights and takeaways we've ever had in our 20 years of academic and professional life into the show, but also brighter because Nick and I are having a blast every morning. We are best friends who have incredible comfort with each other and chemistry with each other and inside jokes and references to bring into the show.
Yeah.
So it actually is kind of
That
deep.
was so
No, it's
goddamn
good,
wholesome.
But you're right. Because if you didn't love what you were doing,
Yeah.
this would not be
The audience knows. They can feel that.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is
They
so
can
much
totally feel that.
Nick is outrageously funny. I like to say that humor was invented in New York City, which is where Nick is born and raised.
Yeah, you can tell he's got like the energy.
It does.
Yeah, I did. I slipped on the stairs earlier. I think I was just too rambunctious.
And the amount of calories I've burned in my life because of laughter during the recording with
The
him.
podcast, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be 50 pounds.
And so what do you bring to the show?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, actually, here's a Jack brought something
Go ahead, Nick.
funny today to the show. Okay, we did a story this week on how Dr. Pepper just passed Pepsi to become the #2 soda
By the
brand.
way, as it should have.
Yes.
As it should have. because
Jeremy's been
one of the best-
fighting this fight.
one of-
He's been
You
out
know you're not
here
gonna
fighting
like
the
it.
good fight for Dr. Peppy.
I'm
then
doing
we-
this for you, Jeremy.
Jack revealed on the show he'd never had a Dr. Pepper
and now he's
before.
about to drink a warm one.
I know.
Oh, no, the one yesterday was also warm.
Lauren, and
Warm
Lauren,
is the only way I've had it.
Lauren gave him his first ever Dr. Pepper.
Can I get a glass of ice, actually? Is there any way we can
Do you
make
think
that?
I'm just like a... He looks at me and goes, "Can I get a glass of ice, big guy?"
Hey, can you just head out
You know
for a
what though?
sec real quick?
Because of how much I love Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Talk amongst
Yeah, yeah,
yourselves.
One
Yeah,
big ice
yeah.
cube, not the small ones, if possible.
Yeah, he's like, can I get the whiskey on
Talk
the
amongst
rock?
yourself.
The whiskey on the rock, Dr. Peppy.
We really
big
wanna-
cube, please.
Jack wants to enjoy all 23 flavors.
You know what though? You should experience this on ice because it is a different experience. Because the warm, shaken purse Dr. Peppy that you had from me, and then you had a warm butt Dr. Peppy from another guy, right? Who approached you that it was in his pants.
Yeah, now that Jack's told the world he had never had a Dr. Pepper until this week, he's getting inundated with Dr. Peppers.
The following day,
Yeah.
2 fans, including Lauren, gave me a Dr. Pepper. But I actually do know what I bring to the show.
Yes.
I'm going to wait for Jeremy to get back. But Lauren, are you familiar with Enneagrams?
Yeah, we did a
just
whole
did it.
episode.
You
yes,
did?
we are. Yeah, what are your Enneagrams?
So I'm a hard Enneagram 1 with a 4 wing. Nick's an Enneagram 3. So Nick's best thing that he brings to the table, besides his humor, is ambition and a demand for excellence.
okay.
What I bring to the show is probably like, in one word, integrity.
Okay.
And I am obsessed with the fact checking and make sure that everything that's in our show is correct,
right.
factual,
Yeah.
on point, not missing a major element or storyline that
Totally.
invalidates our takeaway.
No one's going to notice this except for Jack, that like we had a line today in the podcast about Lululemon and it was about like quarter over quarter sales. And Jack was like, no, that's annual sales. And he caught that fact check.
Well, look, I am big on information and accuracy, and like there's so much falseness out there.
Totally.
And misleading headlines. And so that is a very important thing that our audience knows, that what they're hearing from us is correct. And they can tell their friends with confidence knowing that they got it from us.
Do you have like a certain, and you don't have to name it, but like, is there a certain source or like, do you fact check it a certain amount of times to be like, okay, this is validated in my mind?
No, like if Nick drafted a fact, I'll highlight the text, right click it, Google it.
yeah.
But I want to go as primary as possible. So the best place to fact check is the company itself,
Right.
which issues quarterly earnings reports.
Just direct.
Yeah. And then we are aware of like the hierarchy of news agencies.
Yeah.
And we look for the best news agencies like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times,
Yep,
Reuters, AP. They're all very good. And if they cite it, we can rest assured that it's already been fact checked by
Right.
them.
Okay. How powerful. And Jeremy,
Oh,
we're
here
on,
we go.
as Jeremy walks back in with the ice.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Amazing.
he's got the fancy cups too.
Oh, we're
You
going
are a
highball.
gentleman.
Wow.
Look at this. This
The
is how it's
doctor-
supposed to be drank.
Has never looked better.
Don't you worry.
My God.
Oh.
Oh my God.
All right.
Well, Lauren, oh my God, Enneagrams. How powerful has that been? Right?
So I actually really like the what's the ESFJ ones? What are those called again?
Myers-Briggs.
The Myers-Briggs. I actually lean more in the
Cheers, Nick.
Myers-Briggs.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Adorable.
Wow. Look at you guys.
This is a very dangerous endeavor to do.
I know.
To be fair,
It's better cold.
It's better cold.
it's better cold. It's amazing cold.
Since 1885.
It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade when it's cold.
Yes. But I would drink
Yes.
it warm. I drink
yeah.
it warm. I drink it warm. Yeah.
That's how I feel about sparkling water. I'll drink sparkling
That's
water warm.
psychotic.
And that's how he feels about the warm Dr. Peppy. So they were just saying, babe, that their Enneagrams,
1 and 3.
one and three, which we just did.
And
We
this,
did.
This helps reveal what the two of us uniquely bring to the show.
Now, have you guys, what are your guys' Enneagrams?
So what were we again?
Lauren was.
What's the super hot, talented, and
Okay, I know Jeremy's. Jeremy's was
three.
3 and 8. Yeah. Lauren, I can't remember your 1. I know that you were a wing 2.
Jeremy, you're a 3?
2.
yes.
That's kind of ambition and excellence and
Probably not that. No. Is there like a oh yeah.
I was a
did I describe 3?
I was a
correctly?
2.
Yeah, two's the helper.
A
Yeah.
2-wing 3.
She's a helper.
I think your YouTube channel and your
Helping.
original claim to fame is at the end of the day helping
Totally.
people be
Yeah.
creative.
Can you believe that was like just the first name? Like LaurDIY was the first thing she picked. Like there
It's
was
because I wasn't 16. I got really lucky and I was a little bit older. Like some girls have Princess Sparkles 45 62 underscore XX. You know what I mean? Like
brand name right off the and being done.
Incredible.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
What- I
That,
don't know
was,
what the
that, was
check
the,
was.
that was the beauty of just being a little bit older, I think.
I forgot there was a question I had. So I know that you guys like aren't a finance show.
Yeah.
When you first started, were you a finance show?
Yes.
Okay.
When we first started our newsletter, we were a finance show.
Okay.
And what we were trying to achieve, this was 2011.
Right.
We wanted to create a daily email newsletter
Mm-hmm.
so that people could go to one place and get everything they needed.
Right.
Instead of having to juggle a bunch of different news sources. One place, I want 3 stories, and I don't want to decide what 3 stories to read. I just want to know this is it.
By the way, that's what kept me listening to the show. It allowed me to have something new to talk about every day.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Right. When you're in a new room.
Oh, totally. That's every episode we think like, will this story and this insight help you become a more interesting person in the
Yeah,
world?
yeah.
Will this intro we just did about dinosaur bones as investments, that's something you're going to want to share on a Saturday
Yeah. Actually,
night?
can I get the pronunciation of your dinosaur choice again
Oh,
one more time?
Velociraptor?
Velociraptor.
Ah, exactly what I said. Velociraptor.
Not Velociraptor.
You
Steven
dropped at the end and
Spielberg.
I was like, I'm sorry. I
Don't
I
ask him the name of Luigi's brother.
God.
Velociraptor. Mario?
Don't say Mario. You're so New York.
New York.
That's why.
No, that's how New Yorkers
That's how.
say it.
That's
Yeah.
That's
Mario.
why.
Yeah.
Mario.
That's it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Which is like with a population as Italian as they are.
Yeah, you know,
That's
it's
crazy.
it's just how we did.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jeremy, speaking of like wanting to tell people things that you read in your newsletter.
Yes.
That is why we created it at the very beginning because
Okay.
we were applying for jobs while seniors in college and we were not caught up on the news because like I said, our mailboxes were stuffed with Wall Street journals and it was overwhelming. So we wanted like a one-stop place every day you could go to be informed and to impress people in job interviews.
One thing Jack and I say
That's
is
how we started.
Yeah.
in a world where there is so much news everywhere and we're all getting push notifications, yeah, content is king.
Right.
But we like to say curation is queen.
Curation is a huge value that we provide.
Yeah.
You guys actually taught me a very, very valuable lesson, which is that being in the routine business is
Yeah.
a much better and more like longevity like perspective to these things. Cause like you don't need any one piece of content to outperform. You just need someone to go, I'm going to have a drive every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need something to do.
Yeah.
Isn't that the joy of podcasting that you guys
Yes.
find with your listeners too? Is that podcasting is Jack always says it's a multitasking medium.
Yes.
It is.
multitasking
Yeah, it
media.
totally
Yeah,
is.
our listeners right now.
Yeah.
Your listeners are right now. They are right now cooking a meal. They are on the way to work and they're on a treadmill.
In
Totally.
fact, I
Like
find
my-
it weird if someone was sitting there going,
That's like David Putty. Remember in the Seinfeld episode? He's on an airplane.
that was a you guys thing.
And Elaine is dating this doofus, and he's sitting next to him. He's sitting next to Elaine on the airplane, and it's a long flight. And Elaine is about to like go to sleep, and she's like, "You gonna take a nap?" And he goes, "No."
Staring at
You gonna
screen.
read a book? He goes, "No, no." He's just sitting there looking at
Just
the back
raw
of the chair.
dogging. Raw
And
dogging
that's
the
when Elaine
flight.
realizes
Yes.
she has to break up with him.
That's
is that
crazy.
the original ick?
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe,
That's a
good way to
but
put it.
also
Yeah.
like if you can just be in your mind for that
Oh.
long, like
But like, I would challenge that person. Come over here. Get in here.
yeah, get in here.
Let's see if you
you
just
like
stare
it.
into the distance.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
you
totally
don't want a
agree.
fucking distraction too.
I totally agree. No, I feel like between you guys, my 2 daily shows are you guys and the Philip DeFranco show. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
ever
yeah,
watched
yeah.
this stuff,
Yeah.
but he does a great job of like bringing together my 2 worlds of like pop culture, news-ish, but also like influencer creator space
Mm-hmm.
too.
Well, you guys actually allowed me, like when I tell you that when I first, well, first I gave her the theme song first. And just listen to this.
Start with the theme
Over
song.
the
there.
theme song.
But when she was listening to Snacks without me, I felt a moment of like a little bit of jealousy, but also on top of that was like wow, someone found a way to talk secretly about some business things, and Lauren's interested. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
He makes me sound like all I want to like look at are
No,
pink
because
sparkly
I will say
things. Like
I don't know how you find I don't know how you find the time by consuming all of TikTok every day.
Yeah. I do consume
And
all of TikTok.
Still finding 20 minutes for you
I
guys.
do consume all of TikTok.
Yeah.
No, that means a lot.
Sorry, that's my point. I cut somebody off at that point.
So who's your demographic? Because obviously, we are able to be two different people who typically consume such different media, but fall in the same like Venn diagram
You're the crack.
of you guys are the crack, and we're
Let me
so
hit
happy
you-
to be here.
I'll hit you with the numbers and Nick will hit you with the anecdote.
Yes.
I love you guys.
Whip it up.
Our about 40% of our audience is between the age of 27 and 35.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
45% female, 55% male.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Love that.
It
Well,
over-indexes.
it's actually the female proportion has grown over time because, like I said, we started explicitly finance 10
Right.
years ago,
Yep.
and over time we realized that's not what we are.
Yeah.
And so our audience, most of our new listeners are women, which is fantastic. And
That's if you can find a stat for that, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
How many
so-
guys can say that? Like you guys, the type of content you make, and I know it's not finance, but like how many people can say like we're actually growing our female audience like as much as you are?
We're really proud of it. And we also just are having fun with it because it's who we are. Like we're doing stories that resonate for us and they resonate for our audience. And, you know, the audience comes with us for this entire journey, which has been fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. We call our audience the Yetis and the Besties.
But
The
Nick,
best one, yeah.
share some anecdotes about like the types of listeners who have reached out to us.
Oh, like who specifically pings us and is like, hey.
Well, a lot of parents drive with their kids on the way to school listening to the show. And we love that. So we avoid swearing, knowing there's a lot of kids in the
That was the
backseat.
first question I asked. I was like, do you have children listeners?
Yeah.
So where do we
And
we sit on
do.
cursing?
So at the end of our show, this fun detail is Jack and I do shout outs for our listeners. Like
I
they
love
submit
that.
the
Yeah.
shout outs. And when Jack and I are doing the shout outs, it's like, yeah, Jack and I are a couple guys in our 30s and we're speaking to this ambitious millennial audience, but the shout outs are for like Greg turning 7.
Yeah.
Cindy's got a bar mitzvah. And like that's
Little
who's
Johnny
also
has a
listening to the
test
show.
today. He's gonna crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? That
It's
speaks like
wholesome as hell.
Yeah, but like there's something about like it feels like a family then.
Yeah.
But you guys must have a wide range of listeners too. And this gets to a core point about both our shows is laughter and humor just transcends all. You can
yes.
reach
Absolutely.
anyone if someone is laughing. It doesn't matter who they are or where they are.
Totally agree.
And that's an exciting thing.
Totally agree. I think for us, the biggest mindfuck that we always encounter is that because we like, I don't know. I feel like the things that we talk about are, not that we're a lifestyle podcast, not an education podcast. And so when we have someone who's like in med school, we're like, oh my God, you're using your gray matter right now, listening to an hour of us yap. What a compliment.
It concerns me about the future.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, we're shaping a part of your day that's a little terrifying for your future patients.
Well, every once in a while, I'll see the message is like, when I need to like turn my brain off, I turn you guys on. I go, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? You guys, I don't think you're doing yourselves enough justice on this because you're dealing with universal challenges sometimes.
Oh my God.
For example,
Your
the
call-in
wedding
shows are incredible.
The call-in shows where you're actually answering these challenges. And then also with the wedding stuff, I mean, I wish this was around when Jack and I had gotten married because like when you guys were talking about wedding bingo and how you, after the show, had prepared bingo for what happened during the wedding. Like what a fun way to look back on your wedding and also something that should be almost part of everyone's wedding process.
Well, if nothing else, an exercise and things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Humility. It gives you humility.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You had a thought?
So, most people who know about finance learn it from their parents or their like uncle who works in finance. That's how most finance people learned their finance. But most people don't have parents or an uncle who work in finance.
Right.
Okay, this is you're
Yeah.
literally
I'm sorry.
teeing
Are
us
you,
up for like
Are you segueing us? This
Yeah.
is fantastic.
And so, for example, us being an education podcast is that I read segue as Segu at some point, and it's been a fun inside joke for our whole audience.
I called it vagina. When I was in 6th grade, I was
What?
like, what's a vagina? I was looking for vagina.
Fudgina?
Yeah, I'm talking about sex education in 6th
oh,
grade.
got it.
It's one of those words that I'd only read.
Yeah,
from her.
I never said it out loud.
Excuse me. It was a segue from your segue.
Yeah, so we Segu. So this is a great Segu into our next segment because we polled the Tillies and asked them essentially for like some basic, like if you had the opportunity to chat with like a finance bro, like what would you ask them?
And you guys are going to be their uncles today.
And you're gonna be the nice, friendly finance uncle.
We can
because
play this.
It's just like so wild how little everyone knows. And like myself included, like my parents are both like would say medium educated. My mom has an MBA, and
I
like
wouldn't call that medium educated.
no,
that's
but
a
my
master.
my
Mega.
dad just graduated high school and then started working.
You know, mean average?
What?
Just the average.
Yeah, the
too.
mean average.
Got
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Cool.
So it's like my mom had an MBA.
Former.
Great edit show. Great edit show.
Got it.
Well, we've been. I mean,
We're covering.
We're obsessed with the Finance Bro lately, and so we had to bring him in.
Yeah, Jeremy has played every remix ever of the Finance Bro song. But anyway, all to say is that I feel like everyone, especially like the female demographic, is so intimidated. They feel like they know nothing. They feel like they don't have a resource that they can trust, and they're paralyzed in not knowing what to do, so they do nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we have so much to share.
And with that, let's go into our first question.
And let's be clear, the very first thing to know is that obviously you should go watch the show or listen to the show. However, this is a good start and a good idea.
Right.
If you can get through this segment, I think you're going to enjoy the show.
Great.
And also, I want to be like to tee this up. The one of the number one questions that I feel like encapsulates all of this.
That's a fun way to say that.
Encapsulates
It's like Pulitzer Prize.
The old Pulitzer.
is that one of the questions that someone submitted was so great, and it was just what do?
Yeah, right.
What do? What do? Investing.
Is that a question?
What do? That's the question. So anyway, investing.
So-
What's the best way to start? What
Well,
do?
First, maybe stocks are ownership in a company. And
Okay.
if you buy a stock, you own part of a company. So Nick and I are the 50-50 owners of Nick and Jack Studios.
Yes,
That's
we
the
are.
company that we operate our show under.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been the same company since day one, or was that like Robinhood now?
Since
And
post Robinhood.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was something else. But
We've reincorporated.
so we have 2 shares in the company, and we each own one.
oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
Nike has 10 million shares. You can own one of them and own 1/10 of the company. So when Nick and I make profits at the end of the year, we each take home 50% of the profits.
That's cool.
When Nike makes profits, they split it up into 1/10 each. And each share is entitled to 1/10 of the Nike profits. So that's the really cool thing about stocks is you literally become an owner. It's great to make money through working and through a W-2 and through a salary. But you can, what do rich people have? They own things.
Right.
Rich people own things. And the stock market is the easiest, most accessible way at a low cost to begin owning things. Buying a house is great, but those cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And
Buying a stock can be $1.
And when it comes to buying a stock, Jack and I kind of approach it, and we think people should approach it just like you do when you're dating someone serious, when you get serious about dating. You don't just pick a random company out of nowhere, and you don't just pick a random company because then someone told you about it.
Dating a stock.
Yeah,
We
you
think
you
the
date the
first-
stock.
The first stock you ever invest in should be a company you friggin' love.
You know, you
Yeah.
feel it. You wear it maybe. You've gotten used to it. You can walk into a store and say, I think things are going in the right direction or the wrong direction because I know how populated it is in aisle 6.
Krispy Kreme was mine. Krispy Kreme.
There you go.
You know why? Mom, I like donuts.
Hey,
Yeah.
By the way,
and
that
that's
thing,
universal.
Crushed.
by the way, this is Jack. I own stock of Krispy Kreme too.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
I do.
Nick. I consume Krispy Kreme.
This is
Hell
Lauren.
yeah.
I
Wish I owned
also Postmate
Oh, no,
an
we-
abnormal amount of Krispy
We're
Kreme.
so far away from finance, we don't actually have to make disclosures.
Why? He didn't
So-
say he owned it. He just said he ate it.
Here's the best way to start is to buy stock in a company you love. I don't know how much it is. Maybe you're about to buy a $200 pair of Nikes. Maybe the next time you're about to buy Nikes, instead of buying Nikes, you buy Nike stock. That can be the first way. You are now an owner, a
Of
part
Nike.
owner of Nike.
Arguably, you're going to get more value than you would have out of the shoes, and you're buying an amount that you know you can afford.
Now, chances are over time, your stock is going to grow in value by 10% per year.
Oh, is that the okay? That's
the
statistic.
stock market
Yeah.
historical average of the last 100 years.
Wow.
Not guaranteed, but more likely than not.
So I'm hearing guaranteed money. All you have to do.
This is how to get rich
so this
quick.
Is, and this is Jack's advice. This is Jack, he's guaranteed 10% yeah, compound interest on this. It's going to be amazing.
And
That's
so
the thing. There's none of that get rich quick. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if someone's offering you that, turn away
Yeah.
because there's no
Ooh,
such thing.
that's-
because it's not real.
And
There's
if
no
you're-
such thing.
As you're dating that stock, just like you would anyone who you're dating, you check in on it. You are going to every quarter get their earnings report. You can check it out and see how the company's financially doing. Get to know them. Share the idea with friends.
Well,
Soft launch it, hard launch
In
it.
Actually, other question
5
later.
years, it's going to double in value. You're going to sell it at a 100% gain and use the proceeds to not just buy yourself those Nikes that you passed on 5 years ago, but to buy the person you're actually dating Nikes too.
Wow.
And then you'll realize the glory of stock ownership, which is that you get richer. It's incredible.
Or less poor.
Or less
That's
poor.
how I feel.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've got 2 questions on behalf of all of the uneducated finance noobs. 1, how? How buy? How do? And then 2, how long? How long buy?
Okay.
How long hold by?
How long hold? When sell?
How buy? How
Well,
old?
the first answer to your second question is you only want to invest money that you're open to losing.
Yes.
If you can't afford to lose that money, it should not be getting invested. And therefore, that means you hold the money until you need that money. So the answer to how long depends on your money needs.
But if you didn't need it to begin with, otherwise you wouldn't have invested it.
But-
How do you know?
because things change, maybe 5 years later, you need to buy a house and then you may need that money. Well,
Right, you can
that's
liquidate.
an opportunity to then pull.
The best early investment I ever had, I sold it right after my wedding because we came up $10,000 short. And I needed to pay for the open bar.
And
Right.
you paid
That's
for the
right.
open bar.
I paid for the open
With
bar
Krispy
with my
Kreme.
Roku proceeds.
Roku.
Yeah.
Roku.
Ooh, very nice.
How buy? You open up a brokerage account.
Okay.
You're gonna have to
co-
give your
any company in
social security
particular?
number. We worked at Robinhood for 3 years.
Yeah.
I do most of my investing through Robinhood.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
You're gonna have to give your social security number. That's totally normal. Open the account, link your bank account, fund it with some money. That and then push buy on the
How
on
buy?
the Nike stock.
And then buy.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And then just wait.
But Jack and I also think, like right now, we've talked about individual stocks, but the real opportunity that we think makes the most sense for people, especially beginner stage, is not an individual stock, but the smoothie of stocks. And what is that, Jack?
The smoothie is an ETF. So an ETF is a smoothie of stocks. So instead of it being just one company that you're becoming a part owner in, if you buy an ETF, you are buying into a bunch of companies.
What does ETF stand for?
Exchange traded fund.
Oh, yeah, ETF's better.
It's the
Yeah,
financial.
ETF's better.
Yeah.
It's the financial equivalent of the Haley Bieber Erewhon smoothie. Is what we're saying.
So when Nick,
Dixie, okay, this is how you get to my demographic right
This is
here.
better.
This is our language. Keep
He's
going.
in LA, and this
Keep
is what
going,
we're
Like
yeah.
the ingredients are okay, but what it makes together is
Yes.
fantastic.
how many ingredients are in a Haley Bieber smoothie?
like 50.
Like 50.
Well,
and it also costs like $50.
our favorite ETF has 500 ingredients, and it's the 500 biggest publicly traded companies in the US.
What's that called?
It's called the there's 2 different ones. There's one from Vanguard, the S&P 500 ETF, and there's another one from Spider, the S&P 500 ETF.
Got it. Okay.
Anyway, Nick and I invest basically the money we have left over at the end of the year from our income and our costs. We invest it in the S&P 500. It's a smoothie of the top 500 stocks in America.
Just at a high level.
Hold. What's the S&P 500?
It is a stock market index
Okay.
made
What does
up
that,
of
what does
the
that, but what does that
five-
mean?
An
Yeah, you
index is
gotta
a
like
mathematical
break
thing.
it down for me like I'm 5.
No, by the way, like none of this is ever taught. It's like,
Yeah,
you know
this,
what I mean?
this is what's
totally
so crazy.
agree.
Like if you're
I'm
listening to this and you don't know what's being said,
yeah.
great.
So-
no one else says that.
Trivia, Jeremy.
Oh God.
What is the most valuable company in the United States right now?
Walmart. No,
no.
wait, that had the most.
No.
That had the most
It
That
may-
had the
Profit.
highest revenue,
revenue.
I know
but
the
it's not
fastest.
the most valuable.
All right, fastest growing would be Nvidia.
NVIDIA is the second most valuable company in the United States
So it'd
because
be
they make
Apple.
the chips
Apple?
for AI.
It'd be Apple.
Apple's
Non-Apple.
number 3.
Oh,
No
Microsoft.
longer.
Microsoft is number
Microsoft,
1.
yeah.
Oh, because AI is crushing
Yeah.
right now.
So the
Where's-
S&P 500
Yeah.
is if we went beyond 1, 2, and 3 like we just did, all the
500.
way down to 500.
Yeah.
That okay, great. That's a great visualization. I feel like too.
And that's based on what figure?
That's based on their value by market capitalization, which is valuing the company by taking the stock price multiplied by the number of shares available to the public. And that's what gives a company its value.
So we said earlier that Nike has 10 million shares. If the price of those shares are $1, then market cap for Nike is 10 million shares times $1.
Yep.
Nike's market cap is $10 million.
Amazing. I'm with you.
And like I assume that because it's a constant, like a dynamic, someone's worth more, someone's worth like. Do people go on and off the S&P 500 every day?
Yeah.
It gets
Not every
challenged.
day. There's a company that's in charge of like inductees and they kick some companies out.
Which one? What company is that? Actually, I don't know that.
It's called Standard & Poor's, which
Oh,
is
it's
what
in-
S&P
okay,
stands
S&P.
for.
Yeah.
But this smoothie, and the reason why, actually, a funny thing Jack and I should share is we bought a lot of stocks. We've done complicated transactions. We've done options. However, the best performing asset we've ever had was the one we thought about the least, which was simply buying an ETF, an exchange traded fund of the S&P 500.
Are you
Last
Vanguard guys
year-
or Spider guys?
I'm a Vanguard guy.
Okay, yeah.
Last year, the S&P 500 gained 23% in value. This year, it's already up 15%.
And
Combine the two, that's like 40% higher than the beginning of 2020.
In fact, with inflation, you're only down 60%.
Now, of course, there's no guarantee that buying basically one purchase of the whole stock market will always go up. But what Jack and I think is so interesting about this example is that everyone talks about individual stocks. You know, you got to buy shares of Apple at this price. You got to buy shares of NVIDIA at this price. This semiconductor stock. The S&P 500 is considered the most boring out of all those investments, and yet it's been the most stable and reliable in our entire portfolio.
So here's the secret. Finance bros who boast about the stocks they invest in, crypto bros who invest about the crypto they invest in, they do worse than those who simply put their money in an S&P 500 ETF. You actually learn that in finance classes in college.
The data shows it.
But men do not believe it.
I heard a stat that women actually outperform men in finance.
that is correct.
Like across the board.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Because
Let's go.
men think
You know
that
what
they
they're
can outperform the rest of the market.
Right.
Nick and I have tried. We felt that urge too. Full disclosure, we're former finance bros.
Got it.
Yeah.
We tried to outperform the S&P
How'd you
500.
do?
We failed. We failed.
Well, 23% is pretty damn good.
I know.
Yeah.
But every
That's
year,
fantastic.
this is gonna be my year.
You know what the mistake a lot of people make is they think that investing is like video games. They think it's like Nintendo, where your goal is to get a level higher, a level higher, a level higher, more and more complex. The reality is you don't have to win the game of investing by getting to level 10. You can win on level 1 by doing the simplest investing of all.
So get the Hailey Bieber smoothie.
Yeah.
And anyone can open a Vanguard account, correct?
Vanguard is not an account that you open. So Vanguard is not a brokerage.
Because
Vanguard,
you interact with Vanguard through a brokerage?
yes.
Got it.
So Vanguard creates ETFs, which are like stocks that you can buy through a brokerage account.
And you can buy that on Robinhood, correct?
Yes.
Great.
And you know, there's E-Trade, there's Schwab, there's a bunch of different brokerages.
I think we're Schwab people.
I think those three I just mentioned are great places for people to start. They're free. Anyone can do it. There's no commissions on any of them, so it's all good.
Cool.
Wow, that's great advice. I feel like I learned more right now than I did every time I've sat down with my own money person and been like, can you break this down for me? Because I just feel like it's so hard to have a professional and an expert break it down because they don't know what I don't know.
Well, out of curiosity, has there ever been a extended period, call it 5-10 years, since the beginning of the S&P where people lost money by investing into it?
Yeah, people have lost money during recessions and depressions.
Okay.
In 2008, when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt and we had the financial crisis, the S&P 500 fell by 37%.
Okay. Okay.
So if all your money was in the S&P 500
Yeah.
and you didn't have cash on the side as an emergency fund,
By the way, for audio listeners, Jack's pointing to himself when he says cash. He said cash on the side and held himself really, really tightly. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't know why I did that. But
I know why you
a
did that.
conversation for another pod.
That's actually for your therapist, but keep going.
And then when the pandemic hit, it fell by 33%.
Wow.
So like Nick said, only invest money that you are prepared and you won't be destroyed if you lose.
And that's why Jack and I like to say, when it comes to investing, FOMO can become NOMO. Like when you buy stock and you think in your head, I am doing this partially because other people are doing it.
GameStop.
That's typically because the price of it has gotten really high. That means you're investing with FOMO. You're afraid of missing out. And what we found generally in the stock market, if everyone is investing at the same time and everyone is FOMO, that tends to drop because that's not a real value driving the stock
It's
price.
inflated.
And your FOMO investment becomes NOMO.
Right. So if you are only investing because of FOMO, you are probably too late.
Yeah.
And you're one of the final people getting in.
And so
And
it's
then
gonna
the
be at the
bubble's going to
highest.
pop
Yeah.
and you will lose money.
And
We've
you'll
seen that
have-
happen so many times.
You have to say NOMO. You need balance in the universe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, take another
FOMO
take. Yeah.
becomes NOMO.
There we go.
Thank you. Okay, so next question, please.
Ooh.
So a lot of questions about credit cards and building credit. So this is kind of like a multi-parter
I'm
here.
loving it.
You like it cold?
Yeah.
I also think anything on a big ice cube tastes really good.
Oh, yeah. I went to
Yeah.
the garage for this.
Yeah.
It's such a
You know, it
a unique
smells
taste.
like a pharmacy taste. Or
Yeah.
it tastes like a pharmacy smells.
And that is actually
I'm
quite
sorry,
accurate.
what farm? Well, this isn't after the pod. Fine.
Yeah, okay.
So let's go back to credit.
I love his defensiveness.
I know. Okay,
just,
so
you know.
thoughts on co-signing on credit with friends or family?
Like a credit card?
Yeah.
Don't think it's necessary. Save that ask for when you're buying a car or buying a house.
Why?
Okay.
I didn't have a credit card until I was 22
Okay.
after college. I was able to apply with no credit and get a basic beginner credit card. And over time, I built up credit. I got a platinum credit card at some point, and eventually I bought a house. That was perfectly a fine way to do it.
Yeah.
I think you can save that guarantor or cosigner ask
That favor.
for something that's harder to get, like a house. Credit cards, if you don't have a credit rating, you can get a beginner credit card.
Canadian.
Unless you're Canadian. So I got here to America and was like, "Hello, I would like your most beginner America credit card, please."
Yeah.
As a Canadian,
Yeah.
here's
So
my
polite.
And
here's
here's
my
a
visa.
chart.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, "Give us money, and that becomes your credit limit." So there was no limit on how much money I would give them, but they would literally hold that and be like, if I give them $1,000, they're like, "Here's a card with $1,000 limit." And so I had to play that game. After building all this credit in Canada for so many years and start all over again.
Wow. Well, actually, this reminds me of a story we just did. Jack and I just did a story on how the biggest generational divide between millennials and Gen Z, credit cards.
Wait, how so?
Yes.
When we were in our 20s, so like over a decade
Us
ago,
millennials.
Yeah.
only 60% or so of our generation at the time had credit cards. But for Gen Zers right now at that same age, and they're at 20, 80-some% have credit cards.
I'm the Enneagram 1. Let me just precise that.
Get me the exact numbers, please, Jack.
81% of Gen Zers between 22 and 24 right
Yes.
now have a credit card.
Wow.
So people between 22
Yeah.
and 24.
Wow. Wait, so but if you had to do it over
10
again,
years ago, the millennials
Right.
at the same age was 61%.
oh, that's a massive shift.
Yeah, it's a big jump.
We actually think the reason for that is that millennials got scarred by the financial crisis
Yes.
that we were just talking about.
We heard debt, bad.
Debt
Yeah.
almost destroyed the country. We had Occupy Wall Street. We had home foreclosures. It was awful.
Yeah.
Unemployment was like 11%, 3 times higher than we have today. So
Wow.
debt was a bad thing in our minds when we graduated from
So
college.
we've got
Gen
trauma.
Z
Gen Z doesn't have that
baggage.
trauma.
No baggage.
They see Afterpay and they're like, let me split this into 4 different payments on my credit card.
I'll take 2.
Yeah, Klarna
Yeah.
says, no. Don't worry about
Don't
that
even
today.
worry about this
Yeah.
TikTok
Today,
shop.
put
Don't
that
worry
wallet
about it
away.
today.
Put that wallet
Klarna
away.
is my boyfriend.
But so like if you had it over again, you would still not get a credit card earlier.
No. In fact, if I had a credit card in college, I would have spent money I didn't have and came with my tail between my legs to my parents and asked for a bailout.
Got it.
And if
Got
they
it.
had given me that bailout, it would have taught me a bad lesson.
Right.
I actually think that my like fiscal responsibility is because I did not have a credit card in college and I only spent what I had.
See, I don't have enough money to buy stuff, so I had to get a credit card in college.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even bother.
Did you
asking
pay it back?
I did. Yeah. If I had asked my mom for
for
a
you.
bailout, she would have said, "You're funny. You're funny." By the way, could I get that degree now? Oh, no degree. Oh, no bailout. No
So
bailout.
Jeremy, I think it's great that worked for you. I guess you got yours like 3 years younger than
I got
mine.
actually. My mom signed on when I was 15.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I was 16, I think, when my mom was like, head on over to President's Choice, which is like a show. What would President's Choice be comparable to in
You
America?
don't even have a president.
Yeah, I know, but that was the brand name. I know.
It's like
It's like
RC Cola.
What?
Wait, what you're talking about?
so I had a President's Choice credit card,
Huh?
which was basically President's Choice was like the top level no name brand maker in Canada. And so they also had this
okay.
like financial
It
sector.
sounds like Sam's Choice.
Sam's
at
Choice
Walmart.
at Walmart. Yeah.
Similar. Yeah.
Because like Walmart does, Costco maybe. Like they have financial
Kirkland, yeah.
products.
Similar. Yeah, similar.
Well, I think it's funny,
card.
like all these companies that are essentially just
Yeah,
turning,
PC.
turning their business model into we have a credit card, and we also kind of have a product, but mostly just like
Oh my God, every time we buy something at Home Goods, they're like a Home
like
Goods
the
credit
Delta
card. And I'm
credit
like,
card.
wait.
Yeah.
Jack and I
They
say
make-
airlines are basically credit card companies
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
have a little side hustle of transporting people in the air.
Right.
it is
So-
a grocery company.
Yeah, it's a grocery company. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sam's Choice kind of thing.
It was funny. Mine was a BP credit card for gas,
Oh,
Yeah, different need.
and if I used it for not gas, bad.
bad.
It was bad.
Well, a big question when you have a credit
Bad
card.
From whom?
Mom.
Yeah.
Mom. Yeah, but mom, I needed whatever the fuck that was.
Right before the show, Jack and I were actually chatting about best practices for credit cards, and we were saying,
We wonder why you're so late. Keep going.
let me see your statement. When you first got your credit card, did you check your statement every month?
I don't think I've ever checked a statement ever.
Really?
Yeah, not because. By the way, not
Yeah,
because
what
I
a flex. Damn.
Must be nice.
No, only because like I have bad habits, and
Yeah.
no, I'm being facetious. I didn't do a good job early, and I think I've now fallen back into that
So you just pay it without checking?
every month. It's in fact auto pay. I
Wow.
hope for the best.
Well, one of Jack's and my like best practices we always share with people with relationships too is around this transparency and the routine of creating habits around checking your credit card statement and turning it into kind of a fun moment, like making it a kind of budget brunch conversation once a month.
Yep.
Like, what's your day of the month, Jack, where you always check your credit card?
15th.
The 15th. Mine's the 3rd. On the 3rd of the month, I had to sit down, go through the credit card. But if you're in a relationship, it's actually a great opportunity to get on the same page together.
Wow.
A lot of couples who merge their finances, like I have with my wife, kind of one person's in charge of the finances.
Sure.
But we highly recommend that the other person be aware
Right.
and kind of participate in that 15th of the month for me, 3rd of the month for Nick, because that is a form of communication that's really important.
Yeah.
The statistics show that like finances are a major driver of the divorces that happen in this country.
Yeah.
Is it the top
I think it's
reason?
the top.
Yeah,
reason.
like over infidelity, correct?
That sounds right, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say it really confidently.
yeah.
I believe in America.
One more
We
time.
got
Yeah.
3 white guys in this room. If we just say it really boldly,
You can get away. Yeah, truly.
yeah. Usually you're not in this room, but we usually
I'm
make
so
decisions,
sorry.
and then you have to deal with the consequences.
And that and such is life. Next question,
I
please.
mean, honestly, treating that credit card statement moment like a date. You know, treating it with the same kind of fun that you would have at a date.
All the interest in
Lowering-
finance bros just fell off.
Seriously, having
I
that
believe
fun,
it.
you know, of being like, and having, instead of having building, you talked on your show actually the other day about how resentment gets built in relationships. One way to avoid resentment getting built is not just, like you said, communicating, but having the conversation together and going through the statement and not having resentment. Hey, why did you buy that thing? And never discuss it until you have an argument. Discuss it there. Like, oh my God, we spent $58 on that thing. I don't know if we can do that anymore.
But you almost don't feel the pain until you see it on the statement.
Right.
Because
Yes.
in person, it's like it's attached to like the little dope. Like,
Oh, that's
so
fake
good.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple Pay, fake money.
Wild
Girl math.
statistic we learned when we were working at Robinhood.
This is crazy.
There's a correlation between opening your mail and having good financial outcomes. So
Oh boy,
if you
we're
don't
fucked.
check your mail, that is associated with having debt problems and bad financial outcomes.
There are exceptions to every rule, of course.
Okay.
We understand the anxiety one could have when you get a bunch of mail and you don't think anything's good is going to be in there.
It's not.
It's never good.
It's never good.
It's never good. And honestly, reading your credit card statement can feel never good too. But the solution is not burying your head in the sand. Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to finance.
I think I had audio issues in this last segment. I
Any
didn't hear
any
it.
single any piece of mail that shows up at our house, I immediately am like, scary mail. It's
Shredder.
scary mail. Into the
Here's-
shredder it goes.
Here's the nice thing though. On the 15th of the month, I actually look forward to it because I have a spreadsheet that has 120 columns because I've been doing this for 10 years.
Oh my God.
So
We can
every
actually
month,
show you ours. Yeah.
Every month for the last 10 years, I have paid my bills on the 15th and checked to see how the family's entire finances are.
Wow.
With the very bottom number being the net worth.
Mm-hmm.
And that has grown over time. And it is very satisfying. Some months it's down and sometimes it's down several months in a row. And I'll be like, Alex, we really got to stop.
And honestly, it's like a financial diary. Like there's a notes tab in ours, and I'll put notes in when I go back and to see compare to last year. Be like, oh yeah, this was because of that like amazing trip that we took to Santa Barbara. That was an expensive month, but it was worth it. And we
Other
paid it
months,
off.
we didn't take any trips and we didn't make any large purchases. And we had higher net worth than the months prior because we paid off a little bit of debt and our investments did well in the stock market. And it feels really good.
But the
So
common
keep it
denominator
funny.
here is like allowing that conversation to exist in your own mind and then sharing it.
Mhm, with your partner.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely.
It's communication, which is a cornerstone of every good relationship.
Yeah.
Amazing. I stand by this one thoroughly. Why can't we just print more money?
Oh, pizza. Let's talk pizza. Can we talk pizza, Jack?
I'd love to talk a pizza
Let's talk pizza.
I love it.
pie. So a pizza is cut into 8 slices.
Yes.
Okay.
We could cut it into 16 slices
Okay.
The equivalent of printing more money.
Okay.
Why?
because there is only a finite amount of value in this world.
Okay.
If we took every dollar in the United States right now and printed another dollar for it,
We've done that a couple times last
all
years.
that would happen is that the value of each dollar gets cut in half.
It would be the equivalent
Just like
of taking a pie pizza and cutting it up into more slices so that there'd be more slices available to everyone.
But why? Why in simple terms? Because I understand what you're saying. I do. But why for the average person to understand, like, if I get $2, I now have 2. If I get $4, I have 4. Why does it matter if everybody doesn't get more?
that's a really good question. I think it's best explained this way. If everyone becomes twice as rich, like because we printed a dollar for every dollar, then everyone's going to feel rich and try to go out and buy.
Right.
And the people who are selling are going to suddenly see more buyers and they're going to raise the price.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to keep doing that until the prices double, because then things will be back to an equilibrium from before.
So it's a lot about like the relation of your money to somebody else's money.
So like if we take that pizza pie, cut it up from 8 slices into 16, yes, you'll have more slices, but those will be smaller slices, less valuable slices.
Because nothing fundamental has changed if we just push the printer on.
Right.
The economy is the pizza, and turning on the printer does not change the economy.
So why do we keep printing money?
To loosen financial conditions during crises.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's the quick answer.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
And,
of course.
and when the pandemic hit, that was a financial crisis.
Right. Yeah.
And like we needed banks to chill out.
Okay, so
And
when
sometimes printing money calms the banks down, which can prevent something much worse.
so when we hear money's being printed,
Yeah.
we should think what?
Dilution. That's what we
let's
should
try
think.
another word. We should think
losing value.
We
Okay.
should think we're simply taking a pizza and cutting it into smaller slices.
so whatever amount of pizza people have, they have technically the same amount at what it looks like, but it's worth less.
yeah,
Correct?
you'll have more slices, but they're smaller.
Got it.
And if you do cut the pizza from 8 to 12 slices, everything's just going to be twice as expensive. And
Got
it's
it.
like, oh, everything's back to the same.
Right. So it's do you feel like, again, trying to be voice of the people here, because this is the one
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, we'll just print more. Because especially
Like
when
keep
I hear,
printing more and more.
when I
Then-
hear numbers of like being like, oh, this country is $4 billion in debt. I'm like, that's not a real number. Like, that's not a real number. Just print more and make that go away.
Well, I think that's what we've been doing. But like, is it almost easier to think about like when you go to buy a house and when the market is frothy and everyone's trying to buy and they buy way more than they should? You're spending more money because somebody else was willing to, right? Is that kind of like it? How you would describe
not
it?
necessarily, because what you're describing is a standard supply and demand situation.
But I feel like there's a competition. Like, doesn't that kind of like go into the whole like if more-
Equilibrium portion
Yeah.
of it.
Is that not like correlated?
Well, the equilibrium you're describing is what the price of the house will be. So
Right.
if we have a market with 10
Right.
houses,
It's not the value. You're talking about the price.
yeah.
Good
So the house price, if more and more people are bidding on it, but
Yes.
there's only still the same number of houses, it stayed the same. We're all willing to pay a higher and higher price, so the home price goes up.
Got it.
Right.
That is different from an inflation situation that we were describing before of printing more money.
Okay.
Because instead of printing more money, we've just said in this case, we want to spend more money on that house of the money you
Yes.
already have.
But do we have to spend more money because we've printed more money?
No, you're spending more money because you're trying to outbid the other
The other
competitors.
people who are spending money.
At a certain point, you'll stop spending money because you don't have any more money.
Right. Back to the credit card analogy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
question from the people again. So with the whole equilibrium, do you think it caters more to the buyers or the sellers?
In which
In which
scenario?
instance?
Like when we think about like if you're cutting it into more slices and it lowers the value of
Oh,
money.
who's it hurt most?
Yeah, like I'm thinking about how I feel like
Ooh.
it would be more helpful for more people to have more money and
Wait, what
the
is it?
equilibrium is thrown off because you know what I mean? Like does that make sense?
all that would happen is that prices would go up by the proportional amount of the printed money.
But due to the
So
fact
that sounds like a seller
but like due to the fact that like minimum wage hasn't really budged all that much and like people's wages haven't budged all that much, people who don't have the ability to increase that revenue and increase
Right.
the amount they bring in every year get hurt the most, sounds like.
Here's the sad
Right?
and scary thing about inflation is that when those prices go up, like let's say you are going to use your money and now you have more money to buy something at the grocery store. And now everyone can buy bananas at the grocery store. And now they notice everyone can buy more bananas. So they raise the price of bananas. Yes, the banana seller at the grocery store is making more money, but then he has less buying power because when he goes to buy something somewhere else, the same thing will happen to him. His dollar will
Right.
go less far.
The key is that the pizza has not changed.
Right.
All that's happened is the slices have changed. That's why the best economic policies are ones that grow the size of the pizza. And the way that we do that
I
is
see.
We gotta grow pizza.
we gotta
We're
yeah.
asking the wrong question.
Got it. Just
The
grow
answer
the pizza.
is pizza tree.
Pizza tree.
we need like confidence for people to go out and spend money. Because when people spend money, someone is selling them a product and then they make another product. And like we need more products to be made and sold and bought and produced. And that's just like honestly at the end of the day, it's confidence, believe it or not. confidence is the most important thing for a growing economy.
Well, I asked you why do we print money to make the banks chill out? It's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's
Like,
really
that's
just
the
like, hey,
confidence
hey,
bit.
chill. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like, but just chill, please.
Fear is the worst thing for an economy. Confidence is the best thing for an economy.
Wow.
Interesting.
Great
Yeah.
takeaway.
Okay.
Okay.
Pizza tree, here we come. Next question.
Good question. How much should you have in your savings or in your emergency?
Your
savings?
emergency funds.
Yep.
Because I feel like savings can fluctuate so much for different people, but like for an emergency savings.
Like, how should people think about that?
There's a standard answer on this. And when it comes to your emergency savings, it's 3 months worth of cash to get you through your daily 3-month needs.
Got it. Got it. So if
That's a
you
great
couldn't
answer.
make money starting today,
Yeah.
in 90 days, you're not starving.
Standard 3-month
3
rate.
months
91
of your
maybe,
living
but
costs.
90, you're good.
3 months of your living costs.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so straightforward. I love when there's a straight like the pizza tree. That one still makes my brain hurt a little bit, but this answer is so nice and just like a nice little bow on it.
And if
3
you've gone
months.
through your finances the 15th of every month, you know how much a month of your life costs. Multiply it by 3. That's the cash that you need on the side. Don't put that in the stock market. Do not put that in crypto because those are volatile.
But what if
This
it's
could
Dogecoin?
crash.
Yeah, what is Doge? There's actually a question that isn't in the slideshow that someone asked that I was curious about because I feel like
You can just go ahead and ask your question.
What do you mean?
Yeah, somebody asked me this question. I'm gonna ask it.
No, because I will. So, anyways, because Jack, I feel like you've just got numbers running through your head. Is there an average percentage that people should be spending on their rent that pertains to their income?
Good question.
Yes, but unfortunately, but let me explain. So 30% is like the maximum
Oh
that
wow.
you should spend on your rent.
Why is that?
It's the amount that economists say. Basically, like economists have figured out how much food costs, how much heating costs, how much medicine costs, how much schooling costs,
Where your core needs are.
and those are like at least 70% to do the bare minimum.
Yep.
So you need to
Of
survive
a typical person's income.
on that money.
Right. Unfortunately, rents have risen so crazy high.
Right.
You can't, like, if you have to pay more than 30%, you have to pay more than 30%.
Right. For somewhere to live.
It's
So, like-
also city dependent.
Actually,
So
recently,
dependent. Yeah.
That.
the United States, on average, renters are paying 30%
Yeah.
of their income.
So
on
what was
average.
supposed to be
We're
max?
at the max.
The average.
Right.
So, like, what we really freaking need in this country is more apartments,
Yeah.
more buildings, and more houses. That
Yeah.
would be the pie getting bigger. And for some reason, people keep on like stopping housing developments from getting built. It's a major problem.
Yeah.
Got it. I mean, a great answer. Great answer.
So when you
30%.
hear housing development in your city, say yes.
Yeah, you should really say yes.
Absolutely.
And don't you dare be pro housing, but not in my backyard.
Yeah.
That's called the
NIMBYs.
NIMBY.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's called the what?
NIMBY.
NIMBY. It's like
Not
a
in
type of hypocrisy where
Yep.
you want something to happen because it'll be good for the world.
Yeah.
As long as it's not going to affect me personally. in
Very
my neighborhood.
anti-finance, bro of you.
NIMBY?
Very
See?
anti-finance, bro of you.
That's my-
What he just said put him in a category that some people are going to love or hate. And I love it. And I love it. But it's true. Like, we are. I think we're so protective of what's ours, and we don't want anything to mess it up, which I think is natural. However, I think we also need to realize that like if there's not enough space for people and people are pushed to their limit,
Right.
you're not going to care
This
whether or
can
not
be
there are
doing
people
your
close to
part
you.
in making the pizza bigger.
Also, the economy is wildly interconnected. And Jack and I have just noticed that if you have to pick one issue that may have the biggest impact on so many other elements of our lives, it could simply be the construction of more houses. It could
Sure.
simply be that simple.
I read this basic book of philosophy recently.
Okay.
And there's one way to think about right and wrong. Excuse me, on my Enneagram 1 horse here for a second. There's one way to think of right and wrong, which is if everyone did it the way that I do it, would society be okay?
Yeah.
So when it comes to NIMBY, if everyone said, yes, let's do it, but not in my backyard,
We fucked.
we'd be fucked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then
Yep.
we would get no new construction.
Right.
So right.
NIMBY is my friend's cat's nickname, so I'm having trouble getting on board with NIMBY. But outside of that, I'm so on board. My mom's analogy for this one is that if you make a decision, if it was put on the front page of the newspaper, would you feel good about it?
Love that.
Man,
Yeah.
and wow, have
Yeah.
I done plenty of things that I would rather not be
Which
on.
on the
a
front
lot of
newspaper.
a lot of these housing decisions are made in a private vote where that's not public.
Yes,
Right.
and it's
So
anonymous.
it's a good thing to think about when
But
you're
there are very
voting.
few things that like are almost like universal. Like it is true. Apply it to it, and it will be true. And like that, I don't know if that one breaks anywhere. Maybe it does, but I can't think of where it would.
So don't be a NIMBY unless you're my friend's cat named Nimbus. Next question.
Go ahead.
What's your advice on combining finances after marriage? We have a lot of, I feel like, newlyweds or engaged couples, pod listeners.
Yeah.
Jack did this and I did this. We both did this in our marriages right after getting married, is combining finances.
And when is it not a good idea though?
It's not necessarily something you have to do, but Jack and I have found that in our relationships with the couples that we've also spoken with, that level of transparency just leads to an understanding of the other person that frankly makes you maybe understand them in a new and different way, like how they spend. That's another side of their personality.
Right.
But also it sets you up to make bigger financial decisions down the road.
Yep.
You don't want to be surprised when you're bidding on your first house a few years later and then realize maybe the credit ratings are a little different than you expect.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, if someone wanted to get started but didn't want to go all the way in, where's a good place?
For combining finances.
Yeah, let's say you're already in a
What we
relationship.
did.
Start a business together?
No, have a joint account.
Sure. What's that look like?
A joint checking account.
Okay.
Nick, how about your little mini test, which is a trip?
Oh, yeah. The trip test. So a great way to actually figure out what you're like combining finances as a couple without the long-term commitment of it. You can do this before you even get married, is a trip.
A fling.
A fling when you go on vacation with someone, because that's kind of a microcosm of a whole relationship.
Create a budget for that trip.
Together.
Create a little account where you put the money in with that budget.
Okay, so you'd go through the exercise actually going to grab an account together at a bank.
Yeah. You
Okay.
could set up an account
It's really
just
easy
for a
to
trip.
set up sub accounts too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, so
right.
Even a Venmo
Yeah.
account.
So great. I love that you said that because if for some reason someone didn't, because I don't know what's Social Security get linked together if you were to start a bank account with somebody else,
You
correct?
both share your social security numbers typically.
Okay.
You'd have to entrust each other with that.
But let's say you
Not,
go
but
on
not
a-
with Venmo, right?
You don't even have to leave the
Not sure.
country. Let's say you go on a trip from Los Angeles to Charleston, South Carolina. You're
Sure.
going to have a great time in Charleston. It's a 4-day trip, long weekend adventure.
Right.
You're going to say, we're going to budget this much on food and beverage, $1,000. We're going to budget $1,500 on the hotel for the 4 nights. And we're going to budget this much in airfare. We're going to pull from our accounts, put it in this. And then when you go on the trip, that's when you get tested in real time. That's where you're going to see, oh, how much did we spend on food? How do we deal with, wait, this may be over budget. Should we do this extra meal or should we
Yeah.
not
Totally.
get those oysters?
Totally.
And that's a great way to really kind of check in and test for a future
Right, to see if you're
long-term
aligned.
commitment.
And to your point, if you cannot get through a fun weekend with somebody, doing something a little bit different, probably an indicator.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but like I can totally see where a younger version of me, like having to plan something with a girl that I was dating at the time, going very poorly. I think it would have illuminated some like, you know what, maybe this isn't forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. A single trip test.
I like it.
I love it.
Financially.
I mean, you guys really do have like a story to apply to everything. It's wild.
Yeah, it's like you guys are like 600 years old and you
Yeah,
just live through
seriously.
things.
I know.
Like, oh, do we have any more questions?
Past
Yeah.
lives.
Next question.
More questions.
Oh my God. When I tell you this was 50% of the questions that we got about why do finance bros love vests so much?
I think because it gets really windy sometimes right straight at you. You want to be really prepared.
Yeah, Nick thinks about these vertical columns of wind that just hit your torso,
Yeah, you got to be prepared
not
for
your
those.
arms.
Yeah, that's what I'm
For all
thinking
those
about.
times, this is hot and this is like, you gotta like,
Cold.
no, this is hot and this is cold. Like, what? Like,
Was the vest theory true in the finance institutions that you worked at first?
Yes.
First off, so it is.
I wore them too.
You did.
you're a former vest wearer.
A former
Yeah.
vest wearer.
Well, finance bros live in cities, and they have to get in the subway, and the subway is hot, but then above ground is cold.
The amount of hot flashes
and
that
then-
I've had.
Every finance building turns on the AC way too cold,
Yep.
Right.
and so the vest is perfect.
But nobody falls
So
asleep when
it's
it's
for
cold.
survival.
Think about it. They want to like freeze. Like you got to keep people up, keep people awake.
There's actually, we should disclose this because not everyone listening is in finance, but there are some insider things that we are aware of, Jack.
Yes.
For example, when you're working on spreadsheets, there tends to be a movement of the arms that results in perspiration and an unhealthy smell. So
Yeah.
one thing finance bros are too afraid to share, but Jack and I will do so on this podcast.
Okay.
Is that when doing spreadsheets, the vest is a way
Crunching spreadsheets.
to, thank you, Jack, for checking me. Thank you. When doing spreadsheets, crunching them, the vest allows for a perspiration.
That's the
Airflow.
answer.
So
Airflow.
it's an athletic choice.
It's
Yes, it
No,
aerodynamic.
this
It
sounds
is.
like survival to me.
Yes.
This is survival.
I don't think I ever realized the trials and tribulations of a
No, I
finance bro.
didn't. I didn't. And another question that we had someone submit was, she was like, I work on Wall Street, but not in finance. She was like, why does everyone get so dressed up to go sit in a cubicle?
Great question.
You know how there's like, sometimes people say girls dress up for girls?
Yes.
Guys dress up for guys, and we should just say
But we
that.
don't
That's
talk.
so fair.
We don't talk about
We never
that.
talk about that. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. In fact, we might have to edit that out.
You're looking at those pleated pants.
yeah, like
Yeah.
like
Man,
Paul,
this
where do
guy's
you?
butt looks great in these Lululemon cargos.
Yeah.
What comes out of your mouth? What's up?
Right. Right.
That's the extent.
That's the exchange.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's a totally fair question because girls, I dressed for the girl to be like, no, love you so much, babe.
Just get
but
on with
I
it.
dressed for the girl who was like, wow, I love that outfit. That is so cute.
Yeah.
I actually see girls say that like the more that their significant other doesn't like their outfit, the more fashionable it is.
Wow. That's
Again, love ya, babe. Last question. Where can I meet and marry a finance bro? And so essentially this is, I guess, how did you meet your wives?
Jack, why don't you share? How did you guys meet?
I met my wife. I was at a bachelor party with my buddy Mike in Vermont at a beer festival.
okay.
Oh my
And
God.
Alex was there too. Struck up a conversation.
Who approached?
Yeah, who approached?
So, dude, she was actually supposed to meet up with somebody on Tinder
Oh, that's
at the
that's amazing.
Brewfest.
Really?
But she saw him across the way and he looked like a creep. And so her friend kind of pulled her over to my buddy and me.
Huge move by the friend.
I know.
Yeah.
Lexi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lexi.
Game changer. Lexi and my buddy Mike, who invited me to this bachelor party.
Amazing.
They're the reasons Alex and I are together.
No
anyway,
way.
hit it up. You know, she was from Long Island, but skied in New York. My dad's from Long Island and I'm from Vermont. Excuse me. Sorry. We both had Vermont and New York connections.
Okay.
Long story short. Got her number. I was living in New York City at the time. So I went back to New York after the bachelor party. And she came down to New York to go to a Mets game with her cousin because she's from Long Island. And I had her number. I was texting her and she was at the Mets game. And I'm like, I'm going to go see her. So I took the subway to Citi Field in Queens. Didn't have a ticket.
Not on the way.
No,
Not
way
convenient.
out of the way. It was an hour-long subway ride.
Ladies, if he wanted to,
He will.
motherfucking would.
That's right. That's right.
Seventh inning of the game, I figured I could scalp tickets, something I'd never actually done outside of a stadium.
For love.
Seventh
Scalping
inning?
for love.
Seventh inning, but the scalpers had gone home because
Right.
it was the seventh inning.
Because no rational
So I
person
went
is
into
buying
the
tickets.
ticket office and said, I pulled a Goodwill Hunting. I'm here about a girl.
Stop.
He
And?
says, is it just you? I said, it's just me. He turns his head and slides a ticket across the counter.
Jack, you're kidding.
That guy
That
should have been
ticket-
at the wedding.
That ticket he should have been.
We gotta find this
That ticket
Mets guy.
happened to be in the section next to her.
No.
I show up and she screams, couldn't believe I had arrived.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but like that. But think about what that means to somebody. If like they didn't know where your intentions were. It's like no. This guy just showed up in a way that's
Commitment.
like.
Did you
Yeah,
give her
how?
context? Were you like, I'm going to try and get
I
there?
texted her that I was coming, but
Yeah.
she must have not believed it because she'd only seen me at the Brewfest
Sure.
Right.
for like an hour.
So, but like perfect example of like the things you're willing to go through in the beginning of a relationship if you like somebody, like should be very clear. Like that
This
is.
is out of a book.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It was.
You can
it was
sell this
beautiful.
story for
It was
sure.
beautiful. We spent
Yeah.
the entire summer together. I took the summer off from work because I was about to go to
'Cause you were in
grad
love.
school, and I was in love.
Yeah.
She took the summer off because she was a teacher. We spent the entire summer together,
Oh my
and
God.
then we started our relationship long distance because I went to Michigan for grad school. And after a couple years, she was going to move to Michigan with me. But then we sold our company to Robinhood and we moved to California.
But she jumped in. She was there for the
I
whole thing.
proposed to her right before she had to tell her work that she was going to California.
Yeah.
with me.
I mean,
So that she could tell
Wow.
her work,
To be like my fiance.
my fiance.
and now
Yeah.
fast forward, house,
Yeah.
kid,
Child.
2 kids, 2
two
boys.
kids,
Child.
live in
Children.
Vermont.
and river.
And River,
The pup.
our adopted
puppy.
puppy.
The
All
pup.
right, Nick.
The most wonderful
Good
dog.
luck. By the way,
Yeah,
I think you should have gone
I'm
first.
so
It was a
sorry.
Yankees game, and I was pitching.
Okay. Keep going.
So I'm involved in the origin.
I met Jack my first year in college as my freshman year roommate, and Jack and I walked in together, like we said, Seinfeld DVDs. And a few minutes later is when I met my now wife, Molly.
No way.
Really?
because
Same
we
place.
hosted the first party of the year
Yes, we did.
in our incredibly tiny dorm room, same size
Absolutely.
as this room.
And-
What?
25 people in that room.
It was that
Molly was
small.
one of them. We have pictures of it.
And Jack and I both met Molly and her friends, but I remember turning to Jack and we were both just like, wow, great girl. And we both just said, she's a great girl.
That's the nicest.
That's
She was
so
dating
awesome.
somebody
Sure.
For
but she happened to be nice
for the next couple
nice.
years, actually.
Oh, you put
you
in work.
Wait.
He put in work.
That's a long game. Long game.
long game and long distance because I ended up transferring schools and Molly wrote my recommendation letter to transfer
But
colleges
how's that work?
because she was someone who I thought could write an interesting angle on me. And so
Wow.
Molly actually
She
was
broke
part of
up,
my
like,
leaving story.
right after you left. Too.
Yeah. And
Wow.
then we ended up getting together and having a long distance relationship after I changed schools. We went from being 30 feet apart
No way.
to 300
Not
miles.
Not dating.
To 300 miles apart and dating.
Wow. And how long did you guys do long distance for?
We did long distance for a year and a half.
long
And
time.
it's, you know, a wonderful test of long distance. And Jack's done long distance too
Yeah.
before. And it's challenge. Jack and I are in a kind of long distance relationship
Yeah.
sometimes too.
Yeah, but I feel like
But
in
there's a
all of
power
these,
in it.
is like it's the foundation that you build beforehand. It's like
Yeah.
you guys had the foundation of friendship, you had the foundation of that summer,
summer,
and
yeah.
you guys have both together as
Mm.
you know work husbands.
Well, when
have
Lauren
had
and I
the
were doing
foundation.
distance when I lived in Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
it was really hard.
Beverly Hills to where we are now was basically long distance in.
I mean, that
in
can
LA.
get up to 45.
If he had lived on the west side, I probably wouldn't have gone on a first date
Oh,
with him.
yeah.
No.
But you gotta have a boundary.
You gotta have boundaries.
I mean, everyone
Thank
should
you.
know where the line is,
Thank you.
and that's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Wait, you didn't. So where does one go to find it? Where do we find them?
Where do you find these
Where do they go?
finance bros?
She's listening right now, and she goes,
Yeah.
"I think I'd like to at least try." Where does she go?
Well, first, she may not need that finance, bro. He probably needs her more than she needs him.
You're so right.
And that's all the time we have
Slay.
this week
That is
on
how
the
you
episode.
end on that note.
we're
Yeah, exactly.
There's
That's
nothing to
nothing
say.
you can say that's better than that.
Where do you guys check you out? Where do they see you? How do they listen to you? What's the best and easiest way to see if this is something they're interested in doing every day?
The best one yet is the name of the podcast.
Okay.
You can find us anywhere you listen to a pod. Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. The best one yet, we publish Monday through Friday every morning. The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today. The intersection of business news and pop culture. This is the only news that you need. We look at the world through a business lens instead of a political lens.
Ooh,
And it will
that's huge.
make you feel brighter every day.
Jack and I call it TBOY for short. The best one yet. Every episode really is the best one we've ever done. And we're really proud of it. And there's nothing more fun than me getting to do this with Jack every day.
Nicholas.
Nothing more fun than that.
I love them. Like, I think we have
I
chemistry.
think you guys actually love each other more than we
No,
do.
yeah, absolutely.
We do love each other.
I think if
We
I
do
could
love
just
each
get
other.
what you guys
Yeah.
have, I mean, that'd
Yeah.
be beautiful.
Well, it's
Wow.
Dr. Pepper.
It's
Right.
Dr. Peppy.
I
You're
mean-
so right.
Thank you so much for coming all the way out up here. We
thank
appreciate you
you.
guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
over and down.
Thank
Over
you.
down.
Yeah, over and down,
Down here.
of Vermont and SF.
Down here. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And this was so great. We also recorded an episode of the TBOY Hotline.
Yes.
Together where we talked all wedding things. And schedule-wise, I think your pod will come out first.
Okay.
So if you're listening to this and haven't already heard that episode, we will have it linked in the description box below.
You guys have entertained me from afar. You've now entertained me from the same room. I appreciate you both.
And now we're going
Thank
to eat
you
pasta.
very much, both of you.
For everybody else, see you next week.
Oh,
We
before we go,
actually have one more thing.
a
Wait.
little surprise for you
Yeah.
guys.
What?
We have something. We know you just got married on April 7th.
Oh boy.
But given that we've been talking about weddings and finances for 2 days in a row now, Lauren, we actually have some financial vows we've written for the two of you that we'd like you to exchange.
Everyone
with
sit
each
back
other.
down.
Yeah, everyone sit
We
back
think
down.
this is the real wedding, to be honest.
Okay.
So
Should we hold hands? Come here.
Yes.
You must hold
We will
hands.
give you a script.
Oh, right. We have to. Yes.
Lauren, you're first.
Okay, I'm first.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, no, I don't know some of these words.
Yeah, you do.
No, 401k. What is that?
Oh,
I think we have one together.
I'm kidding. Okay, ready? Babe, are you ready?
your
Give me
financial
your hand.
vows.
Give me your hand.
Lauren and
Give me your
Jeremy,
hand.
Yes.
the floor, the podium is yours.
Let's get the diamond.
We have gathered
Yeah, yeah.
here today.
Thank you so much. I, Lauren, take you, Jeremy, for my lawfully wedded financial beneficiary.
Hell yeah.
For richer or poorer, I vow to never pay the restaurant tab without double checking, which I so do. It actually makes him uncomfortable that I check the tab.
It's so weird.
It
It's
makes
so
it
weird.
so
It's
uncomfortable when I
weird.
look.
Good.
Always comparison shop to make sure we're getting a good deal. I'm half Asian. I love a deal. And maximize contributions to my 401k.
Somebody else takes care of that for you, but yeah, I think you're doing that.
And love ya, Rachel. Until death do us part.
Or if you cut off a finger, because we talked about that.
Yeah,
right?
go ahead.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy. Hi. I, Jeremy, take you, Lauren, for my lawfully wedded sugar mama. For rich or poor, I vow to never miss an Amex payment. Never miss an Amex payment.
You wouldn't.
That's stupid.
No.
Always optimize deductions on our gross income, not to mention my health savings account. And before renting any movie, we'll first check to see if it's available on one of the streamers who we already pay for.
You guys nailed these.
This is great.
Truly.
Well,
this is
Until death do us part. And even
Lauren-
after then.
And Jeremy, in the name of Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, we take and wear this ring as a sign of your love, faithfulness, and eternally balanced budgets. By the power vested in us by the New York Stock Exchange, we now pronounce you husband and wife.
You may now co-sign this 1040 tax form.
Wait, I don't think I know what a 1040 is.
You are now financially wed.
What? That's even more serious than the real date.
This is way more serious. By the way, I didn't know we had like wordsmiths in front of us. This is beautiful.
Wow.
And with that, Latvia, we will see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.